Lego Star Trek. We've waited a long time for this. Damn straight. Like 4 decades. And it's finally here. So let's not waste any time chatting and get on with it. Okay, well, first of all, I have to say the print on the box is nice and all, but the box itself feels pretty cheap. I mean, having built a fair number of Lumibrix sets, you really appreciate the rich, thick cardboard they use and how the lid opens to reveal the content inside. That feels premium. This does not. What's interesting though is that there's only 30 bags in there, numbered 1 to 30. And no plastic bags that'll end up in the landfill either. Thick paper bags you can easily recycle. If only they put that level of attention for the box itself. So, 30 paper bags, with 1 plastic bag for subtecting parts, 2 loose flexible hoses, 1 instruction book, and another, and the dreaded sticker sheet. Oh, there aren't that many. Listen, for a premium product, there shouldn't be any. Look at Lumibrix again. Way cheaper, practically the same quality with tons of decorations on the bricks and tiles, but all of them prints. The richest toy company in the world can't do what its tiny competition can? Shameful. This is going to be an ongoing discussion, isn't it? So we better get on with the build. So, Bag 1 builds the display stand for the minifig and gives us our first figure, Beverly Crusher, complete with a printed tile representing a medical tricorder. Surprised it wasn't Captain Picard. Well, I'm very happy LEGO realized the importance of the medical staff myself. She has 2 facial expressions, one caring with a faint smile, and the other with a beaming one. Is that the one she has when she's with her grandmother's candle? She doesn't come with that, McCluck. You sure about that? Moving swiftly on, we also get to apply our first sticker. Yeah, for the display stand. Why couldn't that be a print? Do you know how hard it is to apply these things straight? Especially when they're big like this one is? And it's not like you can easily remove them and try again. We know it's bad, McCluck. Bad? It's shameful. And I'll keep saying it as long as LEGO keep doing it. You do that. I will. And in addition to the stand, we get to start on the Starship Enterprise herself. It doesn't look like much. I'm sure it'll make sense in time. Now, as we build Bag 2, I'm reminded of complaints I've seen online that people are disgruntled that LEGO use a wide array of colors. Why is that a problem? They want a grey ship to be all grey, inside and out. Now, I don't have a problem with colors as long as we don't get to see them by the end. But let me tell you, this Enterprise build is pretty intricate. And if all internal pieces were grey, it would be a nightmare to figure out which tiny part went where with each step. And to find the right part in the pile of bricks we need for each step. I'm a tad puzzled about some piece choices, mind. Why put 2 1x1 tiles next to each other when a single 1x2 tile would have done just as well? The cynic in me says that this is one way to inflate the piece count. Is there anyone other than a cynic in you, McCluck? So, having added all the pieces from Bag 2, it still doesn't look like much of anything. I guess that curved part is the neck of the StarDrive, but other than that, it's a mishmash of jumbled colors. Just think of it as a giant 3D puzzle. It'll make sense in time. Now, with Bag 3, we've created a whole new structure that is attached to the side of the first one. Okay, well, I'm changing my mind about the curved part. I think that's the start of one of the nacelles, while the new structure is the bulk of the StarDrive's neck. We get to apply our second sticker, and you can see the veritable smorgasbord of colors that make up the inside. From every side! No wonder some people were annoyed. If they were looking to buy this set to get a bunch of grey pieces for their mugs, yes, they would be. But that's not the purpose of this set. That's right. The purpose is to have an enjoyable building experience. Well, they might as well try their luck with the inferior franchise that is Star Wars. There's tons of grey ships already there. Moving on to Bag 4, we get a new character, which happens to be the most unpopular one in the show. Alexander? No, Alexander isn't part of this set, McCluck. And what a wise decision that was. It's Wesley, Beverly's son. The do-gooder know-it-all who kept saving the ship. That didn't happen as often as you think. In any case, this figure's notable feature is that he sports the rainbow jumper he used to wear in Season 1. Fun fact, he wore this because he wasn't an officer, so he couldn't wear a uniform. But because he was essentially a blank slate, he had a stripe for each of the 3 uniform colors instead. Oh wow, I didn't know that. You won't get that kind of knowledge from LEGO influencers who know nothing about the franchise they're reviewing. Bitter, McCluck? Just stating facts, Mouse. And speaking of, his mom has the uniform that appeared from Season 3 onwards. Bit of an inconsistent jumble of outfits, if you ask me. I think LEGO decided to represent the most iconic clothes. I mean, the rainbow jumper is much better than that monochrome drabness he wore later on. And he also comes with the repulsive beam he invented that saved the ship in the Naked Now. See? He was saving the ship so often they made a point to showcase it here. He also has two expressions, one with a simple smile, and the other looks like he's about to get into serious trouble. Shut up, Wesley! As for the build itself, well, it's getting more complex, that's for sure. And curvy. But I'm at a loss to figure out which part is which. It doesn't really make much sense. Maybe we're looking at it from the wrong angle. Maybe, but that's the angle we're instructed to building it as. I'm sure it'll make sense later. And it's like we're going back to the start with Bag 5, as we're building what looks like the same structure we assembled with Bag 1. That's weird. Now I'm ever more confused. I'm sure it'll make sense in time, yes, we know. But confusion aside, I'm telling you the designer did an impressive job. I mean, usually a structure this complex would be riddled with Technic parts to strengthen it, but here, all we've used so far are regular LEGO parts. That's impressive indeed. So, what are we doing with these two sections? There's no obvious way for them to connect. Guess we'll have to carry on and see what the next bag brings. Bag 6 carries on building the other part of the ship, which keeps looking exactly like the other section, and I'm struggling to discern its shape. It doesn't make any sense to me. I see, we've added our third sticker, which looks similar to the one for the other side, only slightly wider. That sticker rings a bell, though. But if we put the two parts side by side, Captain, it really doesn't look like the Enterprise. Did we get the wrong plans from the Utopia Peninsula shipyards? This is just weird. I got it. I knew I recognized that sticker. It represents a secondary shuttle bay located at the top of the StarDrive section's deck. There was one on either side of it, hence two stickers. So if we turn the two parts around and put them close to each other, the model makes sense. Oh, now I recognize its distinctive shape. Well, that's one interesting way to build a ship. I've never experienced anything like this before. That, and the lack of technical parts for the structure makes this a truly unique model. I wonder how we'll get to connect the two parts together. Ask and you shall receive, GG. Bag 7 brings the second section on par with the first, and it's time to connect them. And look, it's got 3 colored cross-axle lengths at the base and a couple of beam modules with 3 balls, one at the bottom of the neck and the other at the top. And connecting the two parts together was actually much easier than I thought it would be. The cross-axles slide into the 1x1 bricks with the cross-axle hole in them, while those triple tow bar balls just smoothly connect to a plate with a tow ball socket. Impressive that it's already pretty sturdy just like that. My guess, Bag 8 will strengthen all of this further. In the meantime, even though it's obviously not complete, there's no denying the StarDrive section finally looks as it should. I'm afraid, Mouse, you were incorrect. How so? Bag 8 wasn't there to strengthen the connection between the two parts of the StarDrive section, but to work on the underside. Now, the current underside is a mishmash of colors, which, as we've said, were there to make it easier to build the ship, but as this is no longer necessary. And the Enterprise herself isn't a mishmash of colors from the outside. Multiple sections are built and are connected to the underside to give the ship its iconic curved shape, as well as permanently conceal the offending shades. I like that this build is going in all directions, minimizing to a huge extent those unsightly anti-studs. What surprises me, though, is that none of those parts were used to tighten the two sections together. I mean, it could easily have been done right down the middle, but instead, they were built as if the two sections were still unconnected. Maybe there was a revision in the build order at a late stage of the design process, and some steps were swapped over. If it's an issue, I'm sure it'll be easy to source some larger tiles and swap them for those down the middle. That might not be entirely necessary, McCluck, as Bag 9 focuses on the dorsal section of the StarDrive, and some of those parts cross the divide between the two sections. Hopefully, it'll be good enough. And there's a little Easter egg there for us to enjoy. It's possible to eject the warp core, but as this is LEGO, this Enterprise isn't powered by a matter-antimatter reactor, but by Octan. Oh, LEGO and their sense of humor. And this is also the bag where the main deflector dish is installed.
It's made up of 2 printed windshields installed upside down.
I've heard many people complain that it doesn't look like it does in the show.
People will complain, sometimes about anything. I bet some will even complain this Enterprise is powered by Octan.
Ha! True that.
The thing is, yes, it looks different. The actual ship doesn't have those light streaks shooting around the edges, but I personally don't mind it. It gives it a sense of power and movement the TV show version never really needed, as it was almost always moving across the screen.
In addition to all of that, we've got a third crew member, the dependable Commander Riker, in his red command uniform, coupled with his trombone. He also sports 2 expressions, a serious one and a smiling one.
Oh, could he hold the trombone?
Oh, absolutely. This brick-built music instrument is ideal for an amateur musician who could never hit that high note.
Now, backs 10 and 11 are used to create a display stand.
Still disappointed they couldn't make a stand in the shape of a Starfleet arrowhead. That would indeed have been cool.
Instead, this is a Technic-heavy construct.
Anyone else find it weird that those long Technic parts were kept in a separate plastic bag, but those deflector dish pieces, made up of 2 large transparent windshields, were just thrown into Bag 9 with 0 protection?
They took more care of large Technic bricks than they did delicate decorations.
It's nuts, actually.
Some decisions are indeed baffling. Now, attaching the StarDrive section to the stand is easy. Its underside has 2 large grooves, which are perfectly designed to slot effortlessly onto the stand's 2 long protruding Technic prongs, leading to something that'll look great once it's done.
But we still have a fair way to go. I think it already looks pretty good. Back 12 brings us my favorite crew member.
The chief engineer?
Well, who else is more important on a ship?
Well...
Seriously, Captain, who else? You may say engage, but without an engineer, you wouldn't go very far at all now, would you? Geordi LaForge is the first one to sport a gold uniform. He's got his visor, has a neutral face on one side, and LeVar Burton's inimitable smile on the other. Oh, and he also carries an engineering case.
Now, backs 12 to 15 are all part of the process of creating both warp nacelles.
And as such, there's going to be a bunch of doubling up regarding the buildings since they're both exactly the same.
This is also where a whole bunch of stickers are being used.
There's always a major issue with stickers. The colors of the main body of the sticker never match the color of the brick they're applied to.
That's kinda disappointing.
It's like the company's motto, only the best is good enough, is but a distant memory. Would it really have cost that much to provide prints for all these parts for the richest toy company in the world? Them saving money in that way is likely how they increase their wealth. Aye, good for the bottom line, no doubt, but not for their customers. This is a premium model. You shouldn't use stickers on a premium model.
You'll get no argument from me. Now, bag 13 is used to build the internal structure of the nacelles.
That build ended up being pretty flimsy, but I guess it was trying to replicate how a warp nacelle looks like on the inside, only Lego style. It's fun to see it all in microscale, of course, but it's essentially a stack of 1x1 bricks put end to end, and that's always a tricky thing to do. First, it's not very stable when you're building it, and second, it's hard to keep all the parts flush and straight. Actually, worse still, once that entire section is enclosed, you'll never see all the hard work you've done.
Still, you'll know, in your heart.
Aye, for sure. And having built the internal structure and secured it to the top part of the nacelle, bag 14 takes care of the underside.
It's almost identical to the top side, aside from a lack of stickers. And once you connect it to the other sections, it really looks like the Enterprise's nacelles. And finally, bag 15 completes them with the addition of Bossart collectors at the front.
Although you'll notice that in the LEGO universe, those collectors are also powered by Octan, with their unmistakable tricolors shown in the center of the construct.
They slide in thanks to their long cross-axle and are secured perfectly. With that done, it's simply a question of attaching them to the rest of the ship.
Just like the underside of the ship, which has these grooves that slot into the display stand, these nacelles have a groove that attaches to those clips at the top of the pylons.
Ah, that's why the internal structure of the nacelles included those long yellow bars. Exactly right, Gigi. Attaching the nacelles is a simple matter of sliding them in until you hear a satisfying click. For both of them. And that concludes Book 1 of the instructions.
That's right. The StarDrive section is finally complete, and I must say, it looks impressive.
Looks like those warp nacelles are way too overpowered for a ship that small.
Well, that's kind of the point. When the ship has to go into battle, having detached the saucer section where civilians and non-essential personnel can stay behind in relative safety, the StarDrive packs one hell of a punch.
So, with that part of the ship done, our next task is to focus on the saucer section.
So tell me, what do you think of this StarDrive section? Do let us know in the comments, and if you like what we do,
And how we do it,
And you feel you'd like to help us out,
please consider joining our Patreon. We will leave a link to it in the description below.
thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you again next time.